Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. I have just witnessed Fulham 2, Blackburn 0. My first trip back to Fulham since their relegation. The last Fulham team I saw was that brilliant Kearney team who got promoted 2 seasons back, and they went up against Tony Mowbray's Blackburn, their second season up now from League One. Here is what happened. Fulham line up 4-3-3-ish. Bettinelli in goal. Adoy, Mawson, Ream and Bryan are the back four. Arter is going to sit in front of the back four. With Kearney and Johansson not really close enough to him, as we find out as the first half develops. Knockaert making his debut, first start rather, off to the right. Cavaliero off to the left. So inverted wingers both sides, coming in on their stronger feet. Mitrovic up top for Fulham. You'd look at that 11 and think pretty damn good team, wouldn't you? Blackburn lining up 4-2-3-1 for them. Walton in goal. Bennett, Adarabio, who was on loan at West Brom and was kind of pushed out to right back. I think he's going to get a lot of goes at centre half under Mowbray, and I think it's going to work quite well for him here. Williams, the other centre half. Bell, the left back. Double pivot, the two centre midfielders, is Travis and the much travelled Bradley Johnson. The three off the front is Rothwell to the left, Dak in the 10 position, Adam Armstrong down the right, with big Sam Gallagher up front. And after only 20 seconds, remember, very, very windy in England today, and Fulham building a stand, wind howling in down that side. Blackburn immediately away down the right-hand side after about 20 seconds. The cross hung up behind the front-line attacking players. Bradley Johnson arriving behind them all, gets a header on it, and that one goes wide. Could have been a hell of a start there for Rovers. 4th minute, Johnson slides Dak into the 10 position. He shoots early. That one is deflected wide. Fulham, so this is really the story of the first half, maybe the game, and maybe the story of Fulham so far. Trying to play out from the back with Bettinelli, Ream and Mawson, but doing it really, really badly. Very slow, as everyone is doing now. They're doing the restarts with the centre halves in the penalty area, as you can do now. But when you play out from the back, centre halves, they need options to play to, and I felt that Adoy and Bryan, the fullbacks, weren't given an angle enough, and that they needed 2 centre midfield options and only ever had one, which was Harry Arter. Tony Mowbray, who's not stupid, spots this very quickly. He drops Gallagher back. He doesn't press, he just leaves a line of 4 and lets Ream and Mawson have possession, and it really was a bit of a mess playing out from the back from Fulham. The pattern of play not working. They're clearly trying to follow instructions from Scott Parker, but that needs a big tweak in terms of, 1, the snap of the passing, how quickly it's done, and 2, they need more angles, far too flat, a line and then basically one midfielder to aim at, and then the Blackburn 2 could then just step on to the other 2 Fulham central midfielders. Knockaert and Cavaliero very wide, so there didn't appear a diagonal ball that couldn't just be swamped up. Didn't work at all for Fulham, and their fans became very impatient with that not working very quickly. Blackburn on top here now, 14 minutes in, down the right-hand side again. Armstrong, he gave Bryan a pretty hard game today. Crosses, bounces for Johnson, arriving blocked out from 10 yards there. Fulham fans, as I say, getting more and more impatient, particularly where I was sitting. 19th minute, Bennett, free kick is arced in. Mitrovic nearly scores the mother of all own goals here. I think he's a bit angry with the fact that he hasn't really seen the ball transition from the first third to his third. So the Blackburn cross comes in and Mitrovic slams a volley towards his own goal just over the top. Would have been very hard to save and a hell of an own goal. Bit of anger there, I think, coming out. 22 long straight clearance here. Mitro nearly barges his way through on his own. So you can see first quarter of the game was just all Fulham trying to play out, not doing it very well. Blackburn picking them off in the first instance, but I must say, not really hitting the target or turning any of these quick transitions that they were winning into clear chances. 23 Rovers get caught here, fed to Knockaert inside right. We know Knockaert's trick here. Low left footer here, just past the post. If you sign Knockaert, you know he's going to have a hell of a lot of shots. When he gets it, he's got eyes for the goal, and I think you just have to put up with that because he will get the goals and the assists eventually. He loves a shot though, Knockaert. 24, nice snap in the midfield. Bit more pace on this one. Johansson out to Knockaert. He comes in off the right. He shoots as per usual. His shot spins up. Mitrovic tries the overhead kick, and that one goes over the top. On 28, Travis to Armstrong. Cut back for Gallagher. Adoy makes the last ditch clearance. Good little area that for Blackburn, particularly. Armstrong's full of pace and he can really stretch his man. Doesn't necessarily join in with the 10 or with the 9 in a 4-2-3-1, but very good at getting down the outside from that position. 33, Kearney out to Knockaert. Adoy overlap for once. They managed to get high fullbacks here. Reverse ball here, blocked out for the cross, and from the next phase of play, Fulham are going to take the lead. And frankly, in this half, if it wasn't getting Knockaert one-on-one, this really was the only way Fulham were going to score. And I have to say, it's a brilliant goal from Tom Kearney, who didn't quite look himself as he did under Jokanovic. Maybe they need to work on that a bit. But what a goal this is. So the initial phase of attack is cleared. It ends up with, I think, Arter, who shows good feet on the edge of the box. He draws the Rovers midfielder in and slides it across to Tom Kearney. Everyone's kind of still high from the corner, but Kearney has got a bit of space. He's middle of the goal, quite a long way out, probably over 25 yards out. On the left foot, gets it out of his feet. What a shot this is. Curling. So he hits it centrally to the keeper's left. So it's curling away from the keeper. Nice height as well for him not to be able to get. Flies into the top corner. Brilliant from Kearney. Blackburn lead. Fulham lead. Not because of any surge in performance or possession or territory, but because of a moment of individual quality from Tom Kearney in that first half. Against the run of play, a little bit, I guess, a little bit. Although Fulham did have all the possession, but that was all part of the pattern playing into Blackburn's hands. Fulham's possession was amongst their two centre-halves, it seemed to be. 40, Armstrong forward, well again, this time support from Bennett. Stands up the cross in the wind. Up goes Big Gallagher at the back post, drifts his header wide. Difficult to get pace on crosses today in that way. So look, it's half time. Very odd first half. Fulham going 1-0 up, but really it looked like Blackburn's game plan was exactly right. Fulham not executing theirs very well at all. And we'll come to this at the end of the review. This says a lot because one team executes their game plan well and goes in losing. One team executes it badly and goes in winning. I know which one. I'd rather be the team that was winning with some work to do on my game plan rather than the team that seemed to be doing the right things but not getting the results here. All about Fulham's struggle with possession and trying to get to grips with what Scott Parker trying to do. Is he trying to do what Jokanovic did? We'll see in the long run, won't we? Knockaert, nice and busy. The fans like that, but Cavaliero not in the game. Mitrovic a bit isolated. It felt like Arter was too far removed from Kearney and Johansson, and that glorious midfield rotation that we saw in Jokanovic from McDonald, Johansson and Kearney, and no offence to McDonald, arguably Arter a better player. None of that present today. A bit all a bit mismatched and not working for Fulham. Not the end of the world. They're winning, for goodness sake. Great goal by Kearney as we go into the second half. 49, Brian gets forward down the left inside to Cavaliero. He gets in the half position, the inside left position. Edge of the box, leathers this one right footed over the top it goes. 53, Adoy gets himself in a muddle playing out this time. Quickly switched left to right to Armstrong. He engages the defender on the angle, on the edge of the box. Hits that one right footed. Just past the post there from Armstrong. The pattern is re-emerging from the first half and the Fulham fans start to get a little bit cross again. Arter well forward here, 25-yarder from him, bounces wide. Late one on Armstrong here. Dangerous free kick for Rovers. Dak puts that one into the wall. Should have done better with that. Johnson takes a yellow on Johansson. We're into the hour mark, and now the changes start. Bobby Reid comes in for Stefan Johansson. He comes and he plays in a kind of left central midfield position in a midfield three. What he did do, though, is add a little bit more energy. Remember, under Jokanovic, those midfielders let the ball do the work. And at times, when the ball's not doing the work, it looks like when they're just jogging around, frankly. When the ball is doing the work, it looks imperious and you can't get near them. But Reid, in the context of this game, actually did add something in a central midfield position just because of his energy and pace in there. Brereton comes in for Rothwell, so Mowbray is going to start throwing the kitchen sink at this game. Mitro to Reid, quickly out to Knockaert here. Obviously, you know what I'm about to say because it's Knockaert in off the left. Shoots that one left-footed over the top from Knockaert. Stuart Downing comes in for Amari Bell, and he's going to play left back. And I think the idea is to try and get forward, create overloads on the left, and Downing's quality crossing to pick out big Gallagher up front. So Tony Mowbray was really quite bold chasing this, but just none of it worked, I'm afraid. Kearney, free kick over the top. Blackburn go even more attacking in terms of their personnel. Travis comes out. Danny Graham comes in. So you now have a 4-4-2 with Adam Armstrong playing right midfield. Bradley Dack, who's a 10, playing central midfield with Bradley Johnson. Ben Brereton playing on the left wing. Gallagher and Graham are an orthodox front two. So he sticks all his attackers on. And I mean, 15 years ago, this would have been the norm before the days of three in central midfield outnumbering there. But today it seems very, very brave and very, very open. I said at the time, okay, there's going to be another goal in this game. Either Blackburn will score because of sheer attacking members on the pitch now, or they'll leave themselves open to a counter. Almost like I've done this before, isn't it? Hey, 75 minute, Bennett past Cavaliero, hung up to the back post. Gallagher's there again. He's under it. He gets a good look at this one. Heads that one wide. All their chances. Don't think any of them hit the target. Goodness me, Blackburn. Harrison Reid comes in now for Cavaliero. Bobby Reid goes out to play left midfield. And interestingly, Harrison Reid goes to play in front of the back four. Harry Arter joins Tom Kearney in midfield. Looks like Scott Parker's trying to find some chemistry in a midfield three there. Interesting to see what he comes up with in the next 8 to 10 games. But never mind the next 8 to 10 games, because in the next 3 minutes, Fulham are going to go 2-0 up and kill the game. And as I anticipated, it's a counter-attack here. Rovers have got men forward. Reid and Arter strong on the ball. Harrison Reid, that is, played for Blackburn actually on loan last season. They busy themselves and he gets out to Joe Bryan now. And he's not really got a lot of options when he receives the ball, but there is a bit of a hole to run into in front of him. So Bryan gets his head down. Forward he comes, and I don't want to denigrate the work of Joe Bryan here. It's not exactly Ryan Giggs, but it's a really good run, and it's just a bit of a mess in the end. I think Adarabio, the two Blackburn defenders kind of get in each other's way, and as Bryan gets into the penalty box, he shifts it left, and I think one of them falls over, which stops the other one, who would have then gone round to cover, taking Bryan. So it's a bit of a mess, but fair dues. It's a very willing run at a late point in the game. Bryan, because of this cluster of Blackburn defending, now has space. He's into the box. He crosses it low into the middle of the goal. Mitrovic arriving, complete tapping there. It's 2-0. Fulham have scored from a counter-attack and a bit of a defensive mistake and a worldie in the first half, and they are going to obviously take the 3 points in this game. Credit for Bryan for the run, but not the greatest defending you're ever going to see, let's just say. 83, Scott Parker. Well, there's Graham and Gallagher on, so he kind of sensibly, I guess, sticks an extra centre-half on and goes 3 at the back here. So Lamarchan comes in, so you have a back three of Mawson, Riemann, Lamarchan. Adoy's going to play right wing back, Brian left wing back. You've got a midfield three now of Arter, Reed and Kearney, and Reed gets to go up front, Bobby Reed that is, with Mitrovic. As Fulham see the game out, Bennett yellow card on Mitro there. 88, huge chance here. Could have won this one 3-0. Fulham. It could have been a convincing score to not necessarily the most convincing performance. Big goal kick down the pitch, proper route run stuff. This Mitro flicks it on. Reed, the big guy for the pacey guy, chasing him behind. His pace has got him in. It's kind of on the half volley. The ball's landing. Reed should have scored here. Snatches at this one, sticks it past the post. Should have been 3-0. 92nd minute. Dak drags one tamely wide. So the game ends 2-0 to Fulham, and this is interesting because there's an upside for Fulham and a downside for Blackburn here, because I thought Blackburn's game plan was actually right and I didn't think they executed it too badly at all, which doesn't bode well for their season, does it? I thought they looked quite well organised. I thought they had the right idea. Okay, Fulham played into their hands and should have created more angles, moved the ball a bit quicker, maybe gone diagonal and maybe played the channel once or twice. But the Fulham players obviously stuck to what they've been told to do, play out from the back. But for God's sake, these centre-halves needed more options in terms of passing. And if any opposition manager sees this and Fulham don't improve the speed of their passing, the angles or the options, then that's all everyone will do. They'll just stick a row of players, not press the back two, and sit and wait to pick them off. And without slagging Blackburn off too much, better teams will do a better job of picking them off. I felt that Blackburn were given enough chances by Fulham to pick them off at least once. And you would have thought that with the pace of Armstrong and the skill of Dak, maybe the industry of Rothwell, the size of Big Gallagher up front, that they should have probably taken one of those chances in the first half and at least got something on target. So Blackburn, I'm a touch worried because I thought their game plan worked and they didn't score and they lost 2-0 today. So disappointing day really for Blackburn and a bit of a worry going forward. Obviously against Fulham, you're playing against a lot of star power without it necessarily being a well-gelled team just yet. So that's my take on Blackburn. When it comes to Fulham, this comes down to the classic, did you lose against a good team or did you lose against a good collection of players? Fulham won today because they had better players than Blackburn. Blackburn were better organised and I thought their strategy they worked to their strategy slightly better. But Fulham just outgunned Blackburn today. Fulham weren't very good. It didn't work playing out from the back. They didn't create enough angles. The midfield, I didn't understand why, when on the face of it, I know Harry Arter's only been in for one game, but he's a quality Premier League player. Why Johansson and Kearney didn't manage to dovetail in the first half. I know they didn't get good possession early, but I didn't understand why Kearney or Johansson didn't drop back and try and rotate that midfield to create some new spaces. It didn't work at all. The only outlet really was getting the ball early to Knockaert. Cavaliero was quiet and Mitrovic was isolated. It took a Kearney wonder goal to give Fulham the lead and then somewhat of a breakaway. So there's a long way to go with this Fulham team. They've got look through that team for goodness sake. Mitrovic is too good for this league, we think. Knockaert's been promoted with Blackburn. Cavaliero's been promoted with Wolves. Johansson and Kearney were at it last time Fulham went up. Arter's a Premier League quality player. Mawson was signed for big money, wasn't it? Brian was big money from Bristol City. You look through the whole team, and if he can get the pattern of play he's trying to do, which is play out from the back, possession, keep the ball, bring your wide players into link with your centre midfielders, get basically 7 players attacking at once, this should be absolute easy money for Fulham. But they looked a fair way off that today. And I don't want to be too tough on Fulham. I've got very high expectations for them, obviously, having seen the Jokanovic team. And as I said earlier in the video, you would rather be a Fulham fan talking about your team not really gelling and not playing well and winning 2-0 than the Blackburn fan where I'm saying, well, I thought the strategy was quite clear and the players stuck to it, but they lost 2-0 and could have been 3-0 at the end. So Scott Parker has a job here. One, to get that pattern of play and that snap of passing and those angles working better. And two, really, where does he incorporate Reed? Is Reed going to be, Bobby Reed that is, a star? Harrison Reed, he seems to have a lot of players, and you might worry a bit about Stefan Johansson's position in that team, given the two Reeds kind of came on in those positions. So interesting one, really. It's a thumbs up for a Fulham win, but they seem a long way from being a coherent unit and anywhere near the pattern of play they're trying to do working. So whether you see that as a positive or a negative because the upside's very big, because they've already got their first win and clean sheet, but the downside is that they don't seem to be executing what Parker's asking just yet. That is my take on the game today. I hope to come back to Fulham, I think I'm going to be here next month, actually, and see it all working a little bit better. Obviously, there's new players in. They need time to gel. But I think there might be a few weeks, assuming this all works and goes well for Scott Parker, where they're going to be getting by on their star quality and their star power, rather than necessarily being a cohesive team just yet. So that is my view on today. Get your comments in if you're a Fulham fan. Am I being hard on them? Do you agree with me that there's a way to go? And how do you see this panning out? Is he going to stick to this philosophy, Parker, and it's going to work? Or is he going to have to rejig and, you know, kind of play horses for courses in the Championship and maybe try and get the ball to Knockout and Mitrovic in the first instance, particularly in hard away games? Obviously a defeat on the board already. If you're a Blackburn fan, are you worried? It looks on paper like the right players in square pegs in square holes, round pegs in round holes, whatever the cliche is. But be interesting to see how you think the season's going to play out. That is 2 defeats and 0 points. So a bad start by Rovers. Anyway, I have rambled quite long enough. Get your comments in. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you've seen my videos before, these will always be free on YouTube, but I've started off a Patreon. So if you want to support me on patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom, you can. It's the equivalent of buying me a pint each month. It's $5. You get your name at the end of all these videos, and you're helping a brother out. It's not cheap seeing 78 games like I did last season. Hopefully one day I can make money out of it, but in the meantime I could do with some help from some friendly subscribers. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom, on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. More Championship content almost daily now. We do it so much. Support on Patreon. It was a slightly unconvincing Fulham 2, Blackburn 0. I have just witnessed. Over and out.